Hey, what's up guys? Houston here. Hey, before we jump into the video, I want to ask you all something very personally. All right. My son, my baby boy, he's a firefighter out here in California. And it kind of worries me and stuff. So maybe you all, if you're okay with it, saying a little prayer, if it's okay with you all, I really appreciate it. Beyond that, I wanted to bring you some exciting news about Capital One. Okay, and so here's the situation with Capital One, is that they just dropped a new credit card. Okay, and now the reason this is exciting, if you're a person that has challenging credit, you definitely want to go after this here credit card. All right, and I'll tell you why. It should be something that's on your radar, and all you need is a 580 credit score. All right, I'm gonna actually show you, if you have bad credit, I'm gonna actually show you how to leverage Capital One to actually start rebuilding your credit in this video. Now, that being said, one thing I did want to mention, that we all know that Capital One has been going through a lot of lawsuits, and plus the merger with Discover, right? However, people assume that if they claim from that Capital One, that they may not still be approved for a Capital One credit card, and that's not the case. All right, so if you put a claim in where Capital One overcharge you fees or something like that, if they did a settlement or whatever, and you've been compensated for that, you actually still can get approved for a Capital One credit card. I just want to put that out there. Now, talking about this new Capital One credit card, all you need is a 580 credit score. All right, so this is the Capital One Saver One credit card. All right, now some of you all are familiar with the Savior credit card. However, this is the Saver One, and the difference between these two, one, you have to have a 670 and above. That's the Saver credit card. This here Saver One credit card, all you need is a 580 credit score. Now, the great part about it, you get the same type of benefits with this here credit card. And so what I mean by that is, like, for like you get 8% Capital One entertainment, you get 5% for like rental car expenses, EV charging and stuff like that. You get 5% back on, 3% back on groceries. All right, so it's the same as the Savior card. The difference is this one, all you need is a lower credit score. Now, another thing about this here card, they do charge an annual fee. Now, the annual fee is only $39 annually. But before you jump off, let me tell you why, again, you want this card. Because if you spend $500, when you get approved for this card and you spend $500 within the first 90 days, they will give you a $200 statement credit. Okay, now that's very important. A cash bonus, a $200 cash bonus. All right, that you can, it's not a statement credit, it's a $200 cash bonus that they'll give you. Now, here's why that may be very helpful for you. All right, the thing about it, with that cash bonus, you can use that money to open up a secured loan, and I'm gonna tell you about that in a minute. But there's one other card, the Capital One, that I would definitely encourage you to go after. If you get approved for the Capital One Savers card, I would also go after the Capital One Spark Classic card. And the reason is, all you need is a 580 credit score. That's the business card. Now, here's something else that people are not aware. If you had a bad relationship with Capital One, and that bad relationship is over 1 year old on a charge off, then they still allow you to qualify for that Capital One Spark Classic card. Okay, So a lot of people think that, well, Capital One don't want to have nothing to do with me. That's not the case. Capital One is very lenient in terms of giving you a second and third chance or bite at the apple, right? So that's the reason why I'm telling you, I would go after the Savor One, the new Savor One card with a 580 credit score. Then I would also apply for the Capital One Spark Classic. So that's going to give you 2 cards. So you possibly, just with those 2 cards alone, and you having bad credit, you possibly can get anywhere from $5,000 up to $10,000, okay, in unsecured funding, right? Now, here's something else that I was mentioned to you about that statement credit, a $500 statement credit. And there's another strategy that goes along with this. With that, excuse me, it's not a statement credit, it's a cash bonus. With that $200 cash bonus, you can actually take that, and once they send it to you, you can take that $200 and you can take it over to United Nations Federal Credit Union. Okay, you take that over to the United Nations Federal Credit Union, and then you want to open up that secured loan. Okay, with that secured loan with United Nations, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because with that secured loan, they give you 150% of whatever the deposit. So if you put in $200, then you're able to borrow up to 150% of that. Now, there's another way to actually do this to blow up your credit score. What you can do, you can go to lenders like Low Credit Finance that don't actually report your loan on your personal credit, and get that loan, pay down some of your revolving accounts, take the rest of that money and go over to United Nations Federal Credit Union, put some of that money, say that you get $5,000. They go up to $50,000, but let's just say they gave you only $5,000. Okay, now that's a $5,000 loan that's not reporting on your personal credit, right? So you take that $5,000 and put it into the United Nations Federal Credit Union. Now you're up $7,500, right? Then you take $2,500 of that from that $7,500, right? You take that, and then you can use that to possibly pay down like another bill or something like that. But the thing about it is you're constantly building up primary trade lines. Now, here's the thing about it. Once these trade lines, these primary trade lines start reporting to the credit file, then you want to go after your Vantage 3 and your Vantage 4, not even your FICO 9. Okay, you want to focus on your Vantage 3 and your Vantage 4 credit unions. All right, and the reason is because this is your low-hanging fruit. All right, so with your low-hanging fruit, this is your lowest hanging fruit, but besides your finance companies, your non-banking finance companies. All right, this would be your lowest hanging fruit, your Vantage 3 and Vantage 4. So like with NASA Federal Credit Union, right, opening up a relationship with them. So if they approve you, then you are able to get a credit card, an unsecured credit card, and a unsecured loan. The unsecured loans goes up to $30,000, but it's a Vantage 4 Experian. Now, also your Vantage 3, okay? And your Vantage 3, the reason why is because with your Vantage 3, now you're looking at like Baxter Credit Union, okay? They are Vantage 3 TransUnion. Then you also looking at Veridian, which is a Vantage 3 TransUnion. So once you join them, you also are able to apply for higher limit credit cards and loans as well. All right, so that's the reason why I would tell you with this new Capital One Savor card, going after that, because it's a 580 and it's an unsecured card. Plus, they're going to give you $200 after you spend $500 within that 90 days, and that $200 you can use that to do a secured loan, or again apply with Low Credit Finance and get a loan that doesn't report on the personal credit file, and use that money and take it over to United Nations, right? So the best thing I would tell you to do actually is, if you really want a stronger strategy, schedule a one-on-one consultation. Let me take a look at your credit file, okay? And let me find other lenders that may be able to help you as well. All right, so I hope this video helped you. If you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.